Hello friends, I'm Dr. Subhash Shinde, working as Assistant Professor in Guru Nanak College of Pharmacy, Nagpur. Today I'm here with a new video on approval of preclinical experimental protocols. As we know that plenty of preclinical research work are carried out using experimental animal, and many of you are thinking of working with the same plan or same line. But the main step in the preclinical research is approval of experimental protocol or experimental design from ethical committee. So in this video, I will tell you how to approve experimental protocol. These are the content of this video. Here I will emphasize on need of preclinical experimentation, ethical committees, then stepwise procedure for approval of experimental protocol, then experimentation follow-up and post-experimentation. What is the need of preclinical experimentation? Before this, I will tell you what is preclinical experimentation. So study of a drug using experimental animal is nothing but the preclinical studies, which are generally carried out before clinical trial or clinical study of any new drug. So preclinical experimentation are carried out to find out the toxicity of any product ranging from pesticide to deodorant. Then preclinical studies are carried out to test a pharmaceutical like a new drug or a new vaccine, either in vivo or in vitro testing. Then to investigate the animal behavior like stress behavior or depressive behavior. Then preclinical experiments are used for the educational purpose, say in a postgraduate or graduate curriculum. Preclinical experiments are generally carried out then in medical purpose, just to find out the drug therapy for cancer, AIDS, diabetes, hypertensive like drug, and in other areas such as biological research with non-medical aim. Say for example in veterinary research or in biology research, preclinical experiments are carried out. Now, there are two type of ethical committees which are usually involved in animal experiment, usage of animal experiment. So first is the CPCSE, Committee for the Purpose of Control and Supervision of Experiments on Animal. So this committee mainly control and supervise all experiments which are carried out on animals. So this committee form as per the section 15 of Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Act 1960, and this committee ensures that animals are not subjected to unnecessary pain or suffering before, during or after performance of experiment on animals. And this committee also provide guideline for breeding of an experiments on animal. So this committee mainly provide the basic guideline for how to design the animal house, how to keep the animals, and how to breed the animals. Also, this committee ensure mainly focus on the minimum pain to be given to experimental animal. Then another committee is there, that is IAEC, Institutional Animal Ethics Committee. So this committee is formed in individual institute or organization where animal experiments are carried out. So this committee constituted as per the Rule 13 of Breeding of an and Experiment on Animal, Rule 1998. And this committee operated in accordance with the procedure which are specified by CPCSA. So this is the composition of IAEC. It consists of nominee of CPCSA. One or two nominees are there which are nominated by CPCSA. Then two scientists from different biological discipline, one veterinarian and one person who is non-scientific socially aware member. Chairman of this committee is head of department or principal, and the function of IAEC is just to scrutinize and give the approval to project proposal for experimentation on animal. So whatever experimental protocol or experimental procedure you are going to carry out, that you have to submit to IAEC, and that IAEC committee scrutinize your proposal and either approve or reject or modify your proposal. These are the steps which to be followed during the approval of experimental protocol. First, submission of experimental protocol in the form of Form B to IAEC. Second is meeting of IAEC, and third is either approval, modification, or rejection of protocol. So first you have to fill a form called Form B, and filled form you have to submit to IAEC. Then IAC call a meeting, and in meeting there will be decide whether to approve your protocol, modify or reject your protocol. So let's take a step, individual step here. So first is the submission of experimental protocol to IAC. So all proposal should be submit in the prescribed application, and that is called Form B. So there is a prescribed application which is called Form B, and in that form you have to submit that experimental protocol. So you can download Form B from CPCSE website. It is again a PDF form. In PDF form, you have to convert it into Word form, and you have to fill that Form B, and submit to IAC. So experimental proposal in prescribed format, duly signed by principal investigator and co-investigator or collaborator, should submit to IAC. Now let's take a look of Form B. What is exactly Form B? So Form B is application for permission for animal experiments. It is again an application for permission of animal experiment. Now Form B is divided into two sections, Section 1 and Section 2. So in Section 1, it is again a summary of Section 2. So in Section 1, you have to write name, address, registration detail of establishment. Here you are going to carry out your experiment. Then next part is name, address and registration number of breeder from which animal which to be acquired. Okay, so here you have to write CPCA registration number of breeder from whom you are going to procure that animal. Again, next part is date of commencement and duration of experiment. So probable date of commencement and probable duration of experiment you have to mention here, and type of research involved, whether it is a basic research, educational research, regulatory or contract research, that you have to mention in Section 1. Now in Section 2, again the detailed information regarding the study is there, you have to mention. So in that you have to mention the project title, investigator detail, funding, duration of project, then animal required, description of procedure to be used, method of disposal, post experimentation. So that part you have to mention. Now in Section 2, it may be for the new experiment or it may be for the extension of ongoing experiment, and you have to write all detail. So number of detail regarding the investigators, regarding the funding, then detail regarding the number of animals you required, and in brief procedure which to be used. If sacrification is there, so what euthanasia method you are going to use, and after sacrification which disposal method you are going to use, that you have to mention in Section 2. Then the investigator declaration and the certificate portion of Form B is there. In certificate, that is to be signed by CPCSA nominee as well as chairman. Now next step is meeting of IAC. The meeting of IAC is called by secretary or chairman of committee. Uh, Chairman or secretary collect all the experimental protocol and then call a meeting. Now, the IAC meeting will be conducted as per the compendium of CPCSA, and in IAC meeting, there will be discussion on new proposal, progress report, or request for extension of time. So, is any new proposal or new form is there, or existing form, the progress of existing proposal, or if you want to extend the time duration required, that also discuss in the meeting. Now, third step is approval, modification, rejection of protocol. In this, each proposal will be carefully reviewed for the need of proposed research work based on existing information available, the type and the reason for the animal chosen, the number of animal required, detailed procedure involved, safety data available for the investigational agent, and post study plan and detail of euthanasia and method of disposal of carcass. So the in procedure and in Section 2 of Form B, you have to mention all these points. Committee take a look of this point in which and discuss this point. So in that mainly sacrification is there, or which type of euthanasia is there, then what is the disposal procedure, that all point will be discussed by committee member. and then after discussion, this committee member will take the decision whether to approve or reject the procedure protocol. So for all new project, the IAC after discussion may approve the project after considering all aspect of project. Allotment of the animal will be approved only for first year of the project, and then after you have to take uh, permission, or you have to apply for continuation of your project. The progress report must be submitted for the approval of animal for every subsequent year. Okay. For suggestion for modification in the research protocol or reason for rejection should be clearly stated at the IAC meeting. So meeting decision, either there may be approval of protocol, or there may be modification, or there may be rejection of the protocol. So reason behind the modification and rejection, that should be clearly mentioned by IAC meeting. Now next is experimentation follow-up. So during experiment, what observation you have to taken or follow up you have to keep. So protocol deviation, adverse event, if any, should be informed with adequate justification. If any adverse effects are there, if any protocol deviation are there, you have to inform to IAC. Then any amendment to the protocol should be submitted to IAC for renewed proposal or approval. If you want to extend your work, or if you want to change your procedure, okay, so that should be informed to IAC. Then change of investigator, site should be informed, and approval of IAC should be taken. So if there is a change in investigator or co-investigator, or the place of research work, if there is a change in place of research work, that should be informed to IAC, and you should have to take approval from IAC for this thing. And maintain record of animal acquired and experiment performed as per Form D. So you have to maintain the record of animal, number of animal you have to procure, okay, you have to use, okay, and all this you have to mention in a Form D. Again, Form D is an document which you can be download from website of CPCSA. The next part is a post experimentation. So what after approval of your experimental protocol, so and after completion of your experiment, so you have to submit a field Form D. In Form D you have to mention all detail regarding the use of experimental animal. So how many animal you have procured, on what date you have performed the experiment, so all detail you have to mention in Form D. And that field Form D after experiment you have to submit to uh, respective department. Then that department will issue you a certificate which is signed by CPCSE nominee and chairman of IAC, and that certificate you can use for submission of thesis or dissertation, publication of research work, or submission of project information to funding agency. I hope this video will reduce your tension regarding approval of experimental protocol. Thank you very much.